I came back early from my solo hiking trip, just craving peace and my cat's purring, only to find a strange car in my driveway, strangers in my cabin, and my HOA president screaming into her phone. She was calling 911 on me for returning to my own house. But I had proof. It was supposed to be a quiet solo retreat. Just me, my backpack, and a week off grid deep in Glacier National Park. I'd left my lakeside cabin, my pride and joy, in perfect condition, with security cams rolling and my cat Pumpkin in the care of my neighbor's teenage daughter, Kayla. By the time I reached cell signal again, I had 42 missed notifications. Most were motion alerts from the cabin. Odd, I chalked it up to wind or maybe wildlife. But when I pulled up to my cabin that morning, 3 days early because of a storm forecast, what I saw stopped me cold. There was a silver SUV in the driveway, a couple sipping mimosas on my porch furniture, luggage stacked near the front door. A sign near the patio read, "Book now, Lakeview Cabin." It had a fake rental site URL, and then there she was, Karen, HOA president, self-appointed sheriff of our lakeside community, and retired drama teacher with a flair for fake pearls and public humiliation. She stormed out the door like she owned the place. Her voice went full Broadway mode. "Excuse me, you can't be here. This property is occupied." I blinked. "I own this property," I said, confused but calm. "You know that, Karen. You've fined me twice for leaving my kayak too close to the shoreline." She didn't miss a beat. "I have renters here. They paid a premium. You're trespassing." That's when it clicked. She'd listed my home, my actual private property, on some short-term rental site without my knowledge. Photos were taken from my social media. Even the description bragged about my espresso machine. Inside the cabin, strangers had already unpacked. My framed photos had been replaced with bland rental art. And Pumpkin, the cat, was hiding under the sofa, wide-eyed. "Why you doing?" I started filming. Karen saw the phone and immediately shrieked, "I'm calling the police right now. This is harassment." She turned on her heel and whipped out her phone. Meanwhile, the couple on the deck looked concerned. "Wait, this isn't your Airbnb?" "No," I replied. "This is my home." Cue the awkward silence. The guy checked his phone. Yeah, we paid through a site called Holiday Nest Listings." The host was someone named Kate Jennings. My blood boiled. Karen had created an alias using her initial. Jennings was her maiden name. I remembered it from the HOA roster. She was running an illegal rental scam, and my house was the crown jewel. I looked over the porch and saw something that made me smile despite everything. My security camera, still blinking red. That was when the police cruiser rolled in. And that was just the beginning. The police cruiser parked next to the porch, gravel crunching under its tires. A young officer stepped out, squinting at the scene. An outraged woman in pearls yelling, a confused couple half-packed, and me standing calmly with my phone raised and a cat peeking from behind a suitcase. "Sir, we received a call about a break-in," the officer said, hand near his belt. Karen immediately jumped in, pointing a trembling finger. "That's him. He just showed up and started threatening my guests. They paid for this rental through proper channels." The officer looked at me. I didn't flinch. "I'm the legal owner of this cabin. My name is on the deed, and it's on record with the county. I have security footage and IDs inside to prove it. This woman is not only trespassing, she's been illegally renting out my property without permission." I pulled up the footage from the cabin security app on my phone. Clear videos of Karen entering with a key, which I never gave her, removing my decor, and hosting strangers. For a moment, the officer looked between us, his face unreadable. Then he turned to Karen. "Ma'am, do you have documentation showing this property belongs to you or that you had the right to lease it?" She froze. Her lips moved, but no words came out. Then, in classic Karen fashion, she pivoted to victim mode. "He's harassing me. This is a hostile man. You don't understand. I manage properties in this community. It's common practice." The officer raised a brow. "So you admit you've been leasing properties that aren't yours?" Silence. You could hear Pumpkin purring from the deck. I turned to the couple and gently explained the situation. They were shocked. The woman looked mortified. "We're so sorry. We had no idea. We just wanted a quiet weekend away." I reassured them and even helped them find a real nearby Airbnb hosted by someone I trusted. Karen, on the other hand, didn't back down. Over the next 48 hours, her behavior went from outrageous to utterly unhinged. She left flyers on every mailbox warning the neighborhood about me, calling me an unstable squatter and a danger to renters and property values. She filed a complaint with the HOA claiming I was harboring a wild animal, aka my cat. She even spray painted "Community Menace" in faint pink chalk on the road outside my driveway, boldly in front of my Ring camera. But the wildest move came 2 days later. I was sipping coffee on my deck, trying to reclaim a sense of peace, when a moving truck rolled in. With a full bedroom set, I stepped outside. Karen was standing beside it, clipboard in hand. "I'm staging the property," she said, "for legal reasons." I blinked. "You're what?" She gave me a patronizing smile. "The HOA allows limited short-term leasing under emergency housing bylaws. I've activated that clause." That's when I realized she was inventing rules now. Later that night, I received an envelope in my mailbox. A printed fine from the HOA alleging I had violated community standards by obstructing rental income opportunities for the HOA leadership. I laughed out loud, but I also knew I couldn't let it go any further. This wasn't just a rogue neighbor. This was someone abusing power, manipulating bylaws, and gaslighting the entire community. I needed to fight back, and not just for me, but for every other neighbor who'd complained about her before, only to be silenced or fined. It was time to get strategic. I wasn't going to yell or confront her in public. I was going to expose her, properly, legally, and publicly. And I had the perfect plan. I didn't sleep much that night, but not from stress, from focus. I poured myself into paperwork and digital trails. Karen had no idea who she was messing with. I was a systems analyst by profession, and I documented every second of her scam, down to metadata on her fake listings. Step 1. I contacted my lawyer. I explained the situation, showed him video evidence, screenshots of her rental post, and the HOA fine letter. He almost laughed. "This is textbook fraud," he said. "Trespassing, false advertising, illegal profiteering. She's cooked." He drafted a cease and desist letter and began preparing a lawsuit, not just civil, but potentially criminal if she didn't back off. Step 2. I visited the county recorder's office. I pulled every HOA filing that Karen had submitted over the years. You wouldn't believe what I found. Shady emergency rules written in dense legalese, never voted on, just quietly added. Many were about short-term rentals and officer privileges. She'd been building a personal empire inside our HOA charter. And no one questioned it until now. Step 3, I contacted other neighbors. I started casually chatting with residents while walking Pumpkin in his little backpack. Turns out Karen had been a nightmare to many, finding one guy for using a Weber grill on a Tuesday, forcing a single mom to remove her patio lights, and trying to have a couple evicted for repainting their shutters too brightly. No one had dared push back, until I showed them my footage. That's when things changed. We started a community group chat without Karen in it. I shared everything: videos, documents, emails. Shock turned to anger, then to motivation. Step 4, I made it public. I created a website called KarenTheCabinScammer.com, a simple portfolio of facts. No slander, just truth. I embedded the security cam footage, screenshots of her fake listings, legal definitions of fraud, and HOA bylaws she'd violated. I even included a friendly Know Your Rights section for fellow residents. Within 24 hours, it had over 2,000 views. Neighbors started sharing it on Facebook. Then the local paper picked it up. Then a regional real estate watchdog blog. And then Channel 9 Action News sent me a message. "Would you be open to an interview? This is a story our viewers need to hear." I agreed, calmly, professionally. The day the news team came out, Karen must have seen the van from her window because suddenly her rental signs were gone. The fake website vanished and my mailbox now had an apology letter, unsigned, of course, but it was too late. The dam had broken. The air that morning was crisp still. The lake reflected the sky like glass as if the world was pausing, waiting for justice. I stood on my porch, pumpkin curled beside my feet, when the unthinkable happened. A convoy of 3 police cruisers rolled into the neighborhood, followed by a black sedan with county plates and a Channel 9 action news van trailing behind. Karen stepped outside her house in a floral robe, sipping tea like it was any other morning, until the deputy held up a warrant. Karen Jennings, you are being served on behalf of the County Recorder's Office and the HOA Regulatory Council. You are under investigation for unauthorized property leasing, document forgery, and fraud. She dropped the teacup, literally. It shattered on her porch as she sputtered, "This is a mistake. I'm the president." The officer didn't flinch. "Not anymore, ma'am." Behind them, a few neighbors, quietly gathered on their lawns, began filming. One guy even muttered, "Justice, finally." Karen's face turned crimson, then pale. "This is slander. That man, he's behind this," she shouted, pointing directly at me. I stood silently, calm, like the lake behind us. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The truth had done all the shouting. One officer handed me a copy of the incident report. Another handed Karen her formal expulsion letter. The HOA board had convened without her knowledge and voted unanimously to strip her of her title and privileges. In the background, the couple who'd mistakenly rented my home came back. They handed Channel 9 their receipts and told their story on camera. We were scammed by a fake host. If it weren't for the actual owner showing up, we never would have known. The segment aired that evening. Headline: Lakeside HOA president caught illegally renting neighbor's home, cuffed and canceled. Karen's mugshot appeared on screen. The HOA's reputation tanked, but not the community's. Because for the first time, neighbors felt safe to speak out. We weren't scared of the clipboard anymore. That weekend, we held a small gathering near the lake. Kayla made cupcakes. Someone brought a guitar. A few kids drew chalk doodles on the road where community menace used to be scribbled. This time they wrote, "Justice served," "Pumpkins porch only," and my personal favorite, HOA equals honest owners always. I didn't throw a party. I didn't gloat. I just sat there, drink in hand, watching the sunset ripple over the lake, knowing I'd protected not just my home, but the idea that no one, no matter how entitled, gets to steal your peace, not while you're still standing. So, what did I learn? That sometimes the enemy isn't loud. It isn't obvious. Sometimes it's dressed in cardigans, carries a clipboard, and smiles while it's stealing your life out from under you. Karen thought she could weaponize authority, that the rules only applied to the rest of us. She forgot one thing: receipts don't lie, cameras don't blink, and truth doesn't flinch. I didn't fight back with fists or screaming matches. I fought back with facts, with patience, with community. And in the end, that's what beat her. The real twist? After the story aired, people from neighboring counties reached out, sharing stories of HOA abuses, power-tripping presidents, and years of silent frustration. Karen might have thought she was silencing people. She ended up inspiring a movement. The cabin's peaceful again, pumpkin naps on the porch in the sun, and I've installed a custom welcome sign that reads, "No vacancy for narcissists." But the story doesn't end here. Because justice isn't just about one person being caught. It's about all of us realizing that we can and should stand up when something feels wrong, even if you're standing alone at first. So tell me, have you ever dealt with an out-of-control HOA or a Karen with too much power? Drop your story in the comments. I read every one. And if you made it this far, comment "Justice served" below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we've got more true stories coming. Real ones, about people who fought back and won. Until next time, stay sharp, stay calm, And never underestimate someone with a cat, a camera, and a property deed in their name.